Pull up a chair and buckle up. It's the Original Strength Podcast.
Hey guys, today on the show I am talking with Clint Emerson. Clint is a retired Navy SEAL. He served on SEAL Team 3 and SEAL Team 6. And he is also a best-selling author. Clint is the author of 100 Deadly Skills, and he has a new book called The Rugged Life, The Modern Guide to Self-Reliance. I had a lot of fun talking with Clint. He has some really amazing stories, and he's just an all-around cool guy. I think you're going to like this conversation, and I really think you're going to like his book. So please check it out, The Rugged Life with Clint Emerson. So can you give me just a little bit about your background for my listeners that aren't familiar with you, about your time in the SEALs and everything?
Sure. I did 20 years in the Navy. I went in to be a SEAL. I was in BUDS class 203, which was roughly around 1996. I stayed in for 20 years, retired in 2015, and had the opportunity to serve at SEAL Team 3, the NSA, and development group. So I got both the West Coast and the East Coast kind of experience, and it's almost an even split in the career, almost like 10 and 10 for both the left and right side of the of America.
And how long have you been retired?
Oh man, I've been retired since 2015, so I think I'm going on 7 years now.
All right. When did you discover that you're an author?
You know, it wasn't something I thought I would do. I was one of those guys that sat in the squadron space and with the news on, and I would be like, another mother cashing in, writing books, right? And so I was totally against it, to be honest with you. And then as I got to about 1 year out, and I'd already turned in my retirement paperwork, I'd already kind of started building my retirement business. A good friend of mine said, "Hey, do you want to do a book together?" He's an older guy, experienced, published a ton of books. And I was like, I don't know. And then he kind of sold me on the fact that a book is the new business card. The book is the best billboard you never have to spend a dollar on. You know, in fact, you get paid instead of paying for the billboard, right? So he gave me plenty of business points on why it's a good idea to do a book, and we were going to do it together. So I was like, all right, sure, because I didn't know what I was doing. And anyway, he started guiding me through the process. I used his agent. We got the contract for 100 Deadly Skills. And then he ended up having a health issue. It's like literally when we signed the contract, he's like, "Oh, you're on your own. I can't do this." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" And this isn't like, these contracts, they're pretty stiff. There's no flexibility. And it was with Simon and Schuster at the time, which is like the second largest publisher in the world. And I was like, oh no. But in like, typical team guy spirit, it's like, okay, you just figure it out and get it done, right? So then there you go. That was 100 Deadly Skills came out, roughly a year after we signed the contract, and then surprisingly, it sat on the New York Times list for about 8 months straight.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it's like total luck because it's like I didn't know what I was doing, but and managed to pull it off. It's illustrated, so that kind of made it a little easier. So it's what we joke about it. It's a marine proof book, because it's got pictures in it.
No, yeah, and that is like, not only did you decide to become an author, you made it to your best-selling author. I mean, that's pretty cool.
It was, yeah, it was pretty cool.
And you've got a new book that's out, The Rugged Life, The Modern Guide to Self-Reliance.
That's right. Yeah. So, I'm still doing the 100 Deadly Skills series because everybody loves it. So I'll just keep doing it until people get sick of it. But I knew too that, well, I concentrate on surviving seconds, minutes, hours, and days. But after the pandemic, I was like, the most important aspect of what people should know, they didn't know, right? And once we have supply chain issues, the economy, lockdowns, social unrest, I was like, people probably could benefit from a book that has a whole bunch of, I call them lost dad skills, the skills that dads don't teach anymore, right? And it's all about self-reliance. So the Rugged Life, this one right here, ended up being a book of contingency plans, backup plans, skills that you should have when your phone doesn't work, your laptop doesn't work. You should have it in hardback so that you can reference it when the power goes out. So and the Rugged Life really is just about giving people skills that can put food on the table, take care of their shelter, their home, be their own handy person, be their own first responder, be your own butcher, be your own hunter. So each chapter is all about being your own and taking ownership. But that's the kind of a long answer.
I think it's an awesome book. Like it's like a Boy Scout manual on steroids.
Yeah, exactly. Like the old field manual.
Yes.
I love that thing. And I grew up collecting those types of books, and it's probably why now I write those kinds of books.
And I'm a little weird. Like like it's the whole package. Like even so the book, because I've got it, and the cover of it, and like it just feels like there's a feel to it.
Yeah.
Like it actually feels like a field guide manual.
Yeah, the texture. I'm the same. Like I did all of my books now have that same exact texture. And yeah, I'm like you, man. It feels good. You want to own it. You kind of almost take pride in keeping it nice and neat and ready just in case you got to pull it out and figure something out.
No, it's solid. I really appreciate that aspect of it too. But inside the book, I was thinking another name for the book could be How to Be Extremely Useful.
Yeah. Be an asset, not a liability is like, right. That's the other side of the house that I think has been missing in society since the invention of the smartphone, right? I mean, we've all become exponentially more lazy because either we can find it on our phone, we can tap on an app and get it delivered to our door, or that instant gratification. I mean, there's so much, and that's why it's the modern guide to self-reliance. I make sure that, hey, it's okay to use technology, it's okay to leverage all the modern resources, but couple that with some hands-on skills so that you can get yourself through some problems that are unforeseen, unexpected, or whatever you may face.
No, I think it's great. But you had this in the very beginning of the book, because you have people reflect on questions and how deep they want to go into stuff. But in the very beginning of the book, you had the top 10 serious questions to determine whether or not you want to be off grid. And I failed that miserably. Like I learned that I am very much an on grid kind of guy.
Yeah. I think most people are. I don't know where you live.
North Carolina.
Okay. Are you in major metropolitan suburb kind of?
Yeah, I'm right, like 15 minutes from Raleigh, right in the center of the state.
Oh, yeah. So I mean, out there or anywhere really during this whole past 2 years, you had this max exodus out of the metropolitan, people buying cabins and going out and buying land. And it's a romantic concept. It really is, to think, I'm going to have this cabin with this, wood burning stove, and I'm going to chop wood, and it's going to be marvelous, beautiful, and sunsets and sunrises, and I'm going to do my own thing. But there was a lot of people that did that and then went, oh no, after about 2 weeks to 30 days, they had no idea what they were doing, and they didn't understand how much work goes into 100% off-grid life. I mean, it is a full-time job to fend for yourself in that way. So, by no means is the book saying, go do that. It's really, hey, pick a couple of projects here and there dip your toe into self-reliance and see how you do. And then you can increase it with time if you find that you like doing it.
I really liked your definition of self-reliance. You said true self-reliance is being able to be anything you need yourself to be. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. And I think that's the key. And the beauty of that too is you can start with the things you're most interested in. So because the chapters are so like varied and broad spectrum, I was trying to make it so that no matter who picks up the book, they'll relate to at least one or two chapters in there, or find a couple of them super interesting, and want to try it out. So far, it seems like it's kind of going that way.
Yeah, I don't think that anybody can pick that book up and not find something that's interesting to them that sucks them in. Like I think that's a really like I don't know if that's on purpose, but I think that's just a really good. It's brilliant how that works.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I'm starting to slowly get the feedback, because it's still relatively new on shelves. But yeah, I think I've already had some folks either email through the website or through my Instagram account, actually sending pictures of them like making pomade, for example, right? In the be your own homemaker, I put like everything from how to cut every person's hair in the family to making your own shampoo, your own pomade. And what's crazy is, it's not something I was doing, but when I did the research and went and visited true self-reliant homesteaders, I was blown away at all the many uses of coconut oil, and it's like the base ingredient for most of that stuff. And I was like, damn, that is actually super easy and actually a cool little process that you can knock out in a relatively quick amount of time if you've got some pots and pans, and a stove and a couple of ingredients, and boom, you're making your own, kind of uh, whatever, healthcare stuff, whatever.
So that's what I wanted to ask you. I know you went around and met with experts and people that knew how to do these things, but how much did I imagine that you knew how to do a lot of this on your own already.
Yeah, I knew a little bit in each chapter, hence the reason why the chapters came to life. So growing up, my dad going hunting, be your own hunter, right? Him field dressing animals, be your own butcher. Then my dad was, quite the handyman as well. So, I was the gopher for everything he needed, whether he was up underneath a car or up in an attic. I was the one going and grabbing whatever tools he needed while he was working, and kind of learned by being his little, runner for different stuff. And then eventually him making me crawl in the attics when it's 110 degrees in Dallas. So yeah, and then you got the military experience, and then me being a medic in the military, so everything that I thought that I had a little bit of knowledge on became the chapters, and then I just blew them out of the water by talking to experts who live it and breathe it every day.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Now this wasn't in the book, but I'm guessing this is probably going to be in a future book. What would be, because I'm just curious, what would be your go-to movements or exercises for staying useful and being able to do all these things to be self-reliant?
Oh, good one. Yeah, you're right. Because in Hunter Daily Skills, I always include a workout. They call it the Violent Nomad workout, and I would, honestly, I'd stick to that. It's basically a run, fight, run philosophy, right? So meaning you've got to have the heart and lungs and the endurance to get yourself away from trouble, danger, chaos, crisis, right? But you also still have to have the strength and flexibility, power, mobility, you name it, to then get yourself out of trouble if it catches you off guard. So you've got to have that strength there. So run, fight, run really is super simple. It's usually like 4 exercises. You pick a pull exercise, a push exercise, a rotation, and a sprint. Sprint is always the common denominator. You can vary the sprint distances. Like if you live in a neighborhood, it can just be from mailbox to mailbox, right? Something simple. Or fire hydrant to fire hydrant as your sprinting gets better, because it's a requirement by law in almost every neighborhood across America that a fire hydrant's every like 100 to 200 yards, depending on the density of the homes and the area and stuff like that. So that's your sprint. Obviously, a push is simple. That could be a push up. Anything when you're pushing the earth away is a push exercise. A pull exercise is anything when you're pulling yourself away from the earth in some form or fashion, or pulling an object across the earth. I mean, so it's pretty straightforward. And rotation, I like strikes, striking heavy bags, whether they're hanging or down on the ground, because any strike you throw, whether it's a kick, a punch, elbows, knees, your core is where the power comes from. So yeah, that's it. And you just do, 4 to 5 rounds, no breaks, do it every day. And you'll probably be pretty well rounded as far as getting yourself out of danger or trouble. If it ever comes around the corner, or, it's a natural disaster, or even if it's just, hey, I got to, pick up my kids and carry them across the house, whatever.
I think that's beautifully simple. And I think that's, even if danger doesn't happen, it just keeps you able to live your life better, because you have the ability and the strength, like you said, the mobility to engage in life and do things.
Yeah. I mean, your heart and your lungs, you got to keep them, you got to keep those things as healthy as possible, because they're connected to everything else. So, yep.
Now you have a business that you also help corporations and things. What is that about?
Yeah. So Escape the Wolf was something that was born out of a 3-ring binder of notes I took when I was at the NSA. And while I was there, there was times when I would, have to deploy and do like more solo type missions. And so when I came back, I was like, man, I need an education on how to be the gray person, like truly be gray, even though I'm the only white guy sometimes in the areas I would go to, right? But I felt like there's got to be some kind of education out there that would teach me how to kind of be hide in plain sight. And so I went to the CIA and kind of banged on their doors. I went to the State Department. I went to everybody, and there just really wasn't anything that was that specific, which sort of was surprising to me. So I started building a 3-ring binder of notes and ideas and thoughts. And then one day it got to the point where I was like, I should at least make this look and feel like a book. So back then there was very few self-publishers, and I didn't even know that's what they were called. I just wanted it not to be a 3-ring binder anymore. I just wanted it bound. And so I found this place that does that. I sent it to them, and then they were like, well, yeah, but we upload to Amazon, and we do this, and we do that. And I was like, oh, well, I didn't know that. I just wanted it to look like a book. So anyway, I ended up handing the book out for free on a regular basis. And it was called Escape the Wolf. And it was all about blending in cultural awareness, third-party awareness, situational awareness, and personal awareness. And then I took those 4 awarenesses and just broke them down into chapters, because those are really the 4 parts and pieces you kind of need to know about in order to truly blend into any environment. And it ended up in the hands of a retired FBI guy. And he happened to work for the Wall Street Journal. And so he hits me up one day while I'm still on active duty and says, hey, I want you to teach everything that's in this book to all of my journalists that go to high risk areas.
Wow.
And I was like, well, I'm still in the Navy. I don't know if I can pull that off. He said, well, you don't need to come yourself. You just need to turn that book into e-learning. I was like, what's e-learning? And so he's like, if you go turn that book into e-learning, I'll buy it. And then that was the day when Escape the Wolf, the book, turned into a company. And then so I was able to get the e-learning done, deployed onto Wall Street Journal servers, literally like the same month I was retiring. And so I was able to get out and work for myself, and have been since then. So I got really lucky. It's like who would have thought that my first client was the Wall Street Journal, and then after that it was Humana, and then after that, I've had Top Golf and Dillard's and Driscoll's and a lot of Fortune 500s, a lot of nonprofits, places of worship, and private schools ever since then. So it's awesome. That's what America's all about. It's really cool.
That's a great story. That is really cool. So Clint, if somebody wants to learn more about you, buy your books, or even try to get your services, where can they go?
ClintEmerson.com. And for those that are just checking me out, the Instagram is kind of like my main platform, but I push to Facebook as well and Twitter. But Instagram is kind of my home for social media. The website, ClintEmerson.com, has all the books and all the other little things. My whole little ecosystem you'll find there.
Awesome. I will put those in the notes for the show. This has been a lot of fun. And thank you so much for your time. And thank you so much for your service. I really appreciate you.
No, thanks for having me. Nice hanging out with you. And, best of luck with continued episodes and with everything you got going on.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Now get outside and play.